How does libertarianism impact moral politics? Have you ever wondered how a political ideology can shape our understanding of right and wrong? Today, we will look at libertarianism and its influence on moral politics. Libertarianism emphasizes individual liberty as the core value in both moral and political discussions. This means that moral rights are defined by the freedom of individuals to act without interference from others. At the heart of libertarianism is the belief that every person has the right to live freely, as long as they do not infringe on the rights of others. This principle creates a moral framework where coercion is generally seen as wrong unless it is necessary to prevent harm to others. In this view, the only acceptable limits on a person's freedom are those that respect the same rights of others. Libertarianism takes a clear stance against the idea that the government should impose collective moral goals or redistribute resources. Such actions are viewed as violations of individual freedom and property rights. Instead, libertarians advocate for a minimal government whose main job is to protect individuals from force, fraud, and theft. They believe that the government should not dictate moral outcomes or social goods. This ideology allows for a variety of moral theories to coexist. Libertarianism does not insist on one single moral foundation. It can align with both rights-based and consequentialist views. The focus remains on justice and the protection of rights rather than prescribing a complete moral code for personal behavior. Psychologically, libertarians often prioritize individual liberty over other moral principles like altruism or authority. This results in a moral perspective that tends to downplay social obligations in favor of personal autonomy and self-ownership. In practical terms, libertarianism affects moral politics in several ways. It opposes laws that enforce moral standards through coercion, such as certain drug laws and mandatory social welfare programs. Libertarians argue that these laws restrict free contracts and violate individual rights. They also advocate for the protection of private property and voluntary exchange as essential to individual freedom. Libertarianism frames justice as protecting individuals from rights violations, rather than promoting equality or social justice as primary goals. This perspective encourages political discussions to focus on the limits of government power and the justification of coercion. It emphasizes persuasion over compulsion in social and political interactions. In summary, libertarianism significantly impacts moral politics by insisting that the legitimacy of political actions relies on respecting individual rights and minimizing coercion. This shapes debates about justice, government authority, and the ethical boundaries of political power.